This is Dave Alton from Strategic Information Resources. We're about to go live with our presentation about cybersecurity proof playbook, and we'll kind of describe what that is, how it works, and what people are looking for. I will start the meeting in about 5 minutes, give everybody a chance to get in and get settled, get a cup of coffee if they want, and we'll get started. But I'll go ahead and mute myself and take myself off camera and join you in about 5 minutes. All right, well, hopefully everybody had a chance to kind of get in, get settled, so we can talk about the 2026 Cybersecurity Proof Playbook, how to secure your SMB for insurers. So I'm Dave Alton. I'm the CTO here at Strategic Information Resources. We talk about cybersecurity, we talk about AI, we talk about a bunch of different things. And today we're going to really dive into what is a proof playbook. But first, let's start off with a little bit of housekeeping. The co-presenter that I normally present with, Carly, is not able to attend today, so I'm flying solo. So I may not see your comments as easily as I would. Strategic Information Resources is a managed service provider, and I've been a CTO, CIO, really IT executive for the past 20 years. It's really more than that, but I like to pretend like it's only been 20. And we do a lot to protect people and profits from hackers, make sure that you're secured. We are a team of solutionists. There's about 15 of us, and we're always striving to solve small business problems. And we're based in the Los Angeles area, but we have 150 clients that we support kind of throughout all over the United States. We'd like to say we make tech work, and communication is the foundation of everything that we do. A little about me. So I have been in the tech executive space for a really, really long time, been with MSP for almost 10 years, and have dealt with all kinds of compliances, all the way from, some of the simple stuff like PCI, all the way to CMMC, which is a Department of Defense security maturity model that you have to manage and maintain too if you want to work with the government. So we really get what security is, how it works, and why you need it. I'm also was also the chair of the cybersecurity task force for GTIA, which is a nonprofit industry organization where we look out for managed service providers and other tech service providers in the larger world of things. But we want to really kind of dive into this big shift that's been happening in the cybersecurity space. Last year, a lot of us were really focused on the threat of AI, or just AI in general, right? Ourselves included. And what would it do to our businesses? Would it, change the, how we hire, fire, manage? Would it change the cyber landscape? Well, in 2026, AI is with us, and it's not really a future threat. It's a present reality. And we're not talking about just needing to know security. It's about proving you have it. And, insurers are really demanding this now, and your clients expect it. And really, your business depends on it. It's not good enough to say, hey, yeah, the IT guy told me the firewall's in and we're protected. It really does take something to make sure that you're not only you're protected, but you can prove that you're protected beyond a shadow of a doubt. And a lot of that proving will help you understand why it's urgent, and really kind of shift your focus to making sure that not only do you have security, but you're actually, the security is being used the way you expect. So let's talk a little bit about the new reality. Right now, AI isn't writing emails anymore. It's cloning voices. It's creating deep fakes. A scammer only needs about 3 seconds of video or audio to really start to push that deep fake button. And it's not difficult. These are authoring tools are, pretty much anywhere. And think about it for a second. If your voice and your video are deep faked and a bad guy is using it, what would stop the bad guy from calling your finance department and being able to perfectly mimic your voice and tell them to authorize a wire transfer to a bank account in, the far reaches of the world, and really kind of bypass a lot of what we think of as trusted access, right? The CEO calls in, his voice, what he does. We're not talking about, big, huge corporations where nobody knows who the CEO is, doesn't talk to him. This is, these are people you work with every day, you interact with every day. Even up to 100 people, it's very likely the CEO is well known, well respected, and is in the day-to-day operations of the business. And it's so easy for the bad guys to really just kind of take advantage of that innate trust that we have when we see somebody talking. Their cadence is normal, their voice inflection is normal, how they generally carry themselves is normal. It all seems normal, and yet it could be a bad guy. And the stats are chilling here, right? AI generated phishing emails get clicked on 54% of the time, compared to, a human phishing email, which is around 10 or 11%. AI generated, phishing, deepfakes, and all of that is really, really easy for the bad guys to trick people. And this isn't, it's really not a new threat, right? This is stuff that we've been dealing with for a long time around the phishing. It's just that the telltale signs of this is very poorly managed phishing attack, right? I could see this coming a mile away. That is getting harder and harder to detect. And even the security tools that we use to protect ourselves make it, some of those phishing emails from attackers that are using deepfakes and AI make it past a lot of our checks and balances now that we use in IT to say, hey, whoa, that probably isn't coming from the person that looks like it's coming from, right? So what we've seen this year, and it's really started last year, we started to see this where, it wasn't just there were 15, 20, 30 checkboxes on a form. It started off with like 10. Do you have MFA, or do you have a firewall? Are you using a managed service provider? Who are they? And do you have virus protection, right? That was kind of the set of questions that you would get from an insured. Now, that question set is either very long, or they're really looking for proof that those things exist. Not just that they, I have them, but they want to see the verifiable data governance controls. They want to see the employee training program and what that has in effect. They want to see a documented incident response plan, right? They want to see phishing-resistant MFA. And that one's a little bit newer. We haven't seen a ton of that, but that is definitely, we're starting to see a shift there. So it's not really good enough to just kind of check boxes. You really have to know that this stuff is taken care of and is being managed, and that you can prove that it's being managed and taken care of on a regular basis. So what we're seeing is compliance is really kind of the modern business license, right? You used to go to the Chamber of Commerce, or you went to the city and you said, hey, I want to get a business license so I can start conducting business, hang a shingle, so to speak, right? Well, the way the insurance industry is kind of talking about this is we're really starting to see, hey, listen, it's not really good enough that you have a business license. You have to kind of show us that you're managing to the compliance required by your industry, right? So it's like we're, if you're in the finance industry, or you're making loans, or you're a CPA, you have to manage the FTC safeguards, right? It mandates specific security practices for financial data handlers, requires a designated security coordinator and risk assessments, applies to many SMBs, previously considered non-financial, right? And so you have to kind of know, ooh, do I fall into that category? And there were a lot of businesses that didn't, but financial planners now kind of fall into that. As I said, CPAs, accounting firms, anybody that deals with or manages other people's money, chances are you're falling into that FTC safeguards kind of place, right? Client contracts, what's the proof of security for you to your clients, right? We're seeing a lot of that from clients that are wanting to do business with us, right? Vendors, you're being the vendor of a client, you have to demonstrate that you have an unshakable security posture to win those bids. And we're seeing this has been happening in the government space for a long time, but it is definitely we're starting to see trickle down into other areas, right? And then right to audit clauses are becoming standard in a lot of SMB agreements. So your clients may say, hey, listen, we want the ability to audit you and ensure that you're actually handling our data in a secure manner, right? So it's not just that you're going to get fined, right? Like FTC safeguards. If you're found in breach of FTC safeguard rules or you're not following your safeguard rules, the government can fine you. But really, the cost of noncompliance is you're not going to be able to do business, right? You're going to have reputational damage. You're going to have lost trust. And ultimately, right, you're going to start to lose that business. So proving your security isn't just about good practice. It's essential for staying in business. And that leads kind of to our first story that we're going to touch on, right? So this is a real world scenario. We change all this, and so nobody knows who we're talking about. But a small marketing firm trying to be agile using all sorts of free online tools. One day a team member is trying to be efficient, uploads sensitive client data into an unapproved AI writing assistant. Boom, breach. Client data has been exposed, right? Maybe it was innocuous, or you had a bunch of stats and you didn't realize those stats were giving away personal private data, right? That's considered a FTC safeguard violation, right? And the firm's leadership probably didn't even know this happened, didn't even know the tool was in use, right? And we talked about this last month or a couple months ago about shadow IT, and it's happening in your business right now. You can't secure what you can't see. So we really need to fix that blind spot and make sure that you're aware of everything that you're using, why you're using it, how you're using it. So the fix for shadow IT is really visibility, right? We've developed a simple 3-step process. First, we don't want to blame anybody, right? This isn't about, oh, you did something wrong. This is really about so what's being used. And they may be tools that you want to implement across across all your staff to gain efficiency, right? It may not be something that you know about. So do that survey, right? Ask your team, hey, what are you using? What are you paying for? And things like that. Second, really, you want to dive into, is your endpoint secure, right? Is it using your existing tools? What's it running? And third, you want to follow the money, right? Like this is the easiest one to take the company credit card statement and just go through. Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah, I know what that is. Wait, what is this that Susie bought, right? Go through and take the time to have your accounting people really hone in on, wait, what is this charge for and why, what is it being used for and why do we have it? And who's using it, right? And all of those things will help you kind of get started to deal with, okay, I have some shadow IT. I either need to fix it, get rid of it, or I need to implement it in a way that is now manageable. So we did develop a guide for this, right? It's really simple. It's a simple handout, right? But it's the Shadow IT Discovery Guide. It's one page. It's kind of infographic-y, and really just walks you through the process. It's not really all that difficult to do. And you can get started with this today. You don't need an IT company to kind of manage this. This is really for your information. So take a minute and really dive into this and figure out, what is it that I should be watching for and being careful with. And that leads us to kind of our second story, which is the other half of that story is that is really one that's becoming all too common, right? This is about MFA fatigue. Busy executive gets an MFA push notifications, and he's aware of most of them and he clicks on them. But one night, 2 a.m., notification pops up. He's half asleep. They approve it, thinking it's just a system glitch. This happened to our CEO. Our CEO got an email from our COO, and it looked like it was from them. They clicked the link, kind of half-heartedly paying attention on their phone, and putting credentials. And this is something we see all the time where you just get pinged over and over and over again, like, what is going on? And it's 2 a.m. I don't have anybody to call, and so you're just going to click the button and say yes. And really, the hard truth of that is 93% of ransomware attacks now bypass traditional MFA because somebody clicked that, yeah, it's fine, right? So there are some fixes for this. We don't want to abandon MFA. It's there for a good reason, right? We really want to upgrade it. We need to move to a phishing-resistant MFA. That means moving beyond SMS codes or even simple push notifications, which are increasingly vulnerable. We're talking about biometrics like Windows Hello, or even better, a hardware security key like YubiKeys, which uses FIDO2 standards. These methods cryptographically verify both the user and the device, making them very credible and difficult to bypass. Start with people that have high access and VIPs, people on your accounting team, executives, people that can initiate a transaction that is catastrophic to the business if they were to do it without it being properly managed, right? And then roll it out in phases, right? It's not something that has to be done right away, but we are seeing this more and more where it's not just enough to have MFA. You have to have phishing resistant MFA. So to help make this upgrade, we've created a little bit of a phishing resistant MFA checklist. It kind of breaks down the different levels of MFA, why some are failing, and clear implementation checklist to get you to the highest level of protection. It's another shippable outcome designed to give you immediate actionable steps to secure your business. You just don't want to leave this door open for bad guys, right? We've seen this. Microsoft has kind of switched their MFA tool to where you get a push notification and then you see that there's a number, and that number has to be entered in on whatever screen that you're working from. So our final story, we really kind of highlight the most persistent vulnerability, and that's us as humans, as people, right? We make mistakes. You can have all the best firewalls, the strongest MFA, but one employee can really just ruin the day, right? One bad click. And AI is making social engineering much more sophisticated, way more personalized, and a lot harder to detect. And it's not about blaming your team. It's about really empowering them. Your team is your strongest defense or your weakest link. So how do we kind of go about fixing this, right? We want to make sure that people are empowered and trained so that they're not susceptible to this type of stuff. So the fix isn't to abandon the traditional firewall, right? We still need that. It's really what we need kind of the human firewall, right? We're always doing training. We don't want to just do an annual video, but we really want to focus on current threats and how they work. And then have systems in place that measure, hey, this person isn't clicking on these types of links, and keep track of that, right? Simulated phishing is still really, really important because it kind of demonstrates the threats that exist out there, and it gives you some teachable moments, right? When we do phishing campaigns for our clients, we design those campaigns to be pretty realistic. And the idea isn't like we're trying to trick somebody, but that's what the bad guys are doing. So we want them to have teachable moments and not just watch a video, but really kind of start to understand, how does the bad guy work and how can I protect against that, right? And then we really want to create this culture of vigilance. We say a culture of cybersecurity, but that isn't really a culture. Really, it's vigilance, right? Empower employees to see something. They can say something without fear of retribution or anything untoward happening to them because they said something. We've seen this a lot where somebody will click on something and realize, oh, I clicked on something bad. I probably shouldn't have done that. And then they don't say anything because they're embarrassed or they don't want to be, chewed out by their boss or whatever. And so it's really, really important to kind of get away from the, oh, you did something wrong to, oh, okay, you made a mistake. Let's kind of deal with that and figure out the right way to do that. Reward proactive reporting of suspicious emails and calls, right? Make security a team sport, not just the IT department's problem. It's everybody's job to be secure and operate securely. I used to work in nonprofit for a while, and it was everybody's job to fundraise. It wasn't just the development department, which went out and did all the major fundraising. It was everybody in the company, whether you were in IT or accounting or part of the executive staff or you were raising funds. Everybody's job was to help with fundraising. And that's really how security should work. It's not IT's job to secure things. It's the company's job to secure things. So everybody in the organization should really be paying attention to security, what they can do, and how they can work with it better and make it easier to get done. So we talked about building that human firewall, and now it's time to put it all together. Your 2026 proof playbook boils down to 3 critical V's and 1 C. First, visibility. You can't scare what you don't know or can't see. So tackle the shadow IT problem head on. Get that survey out and then review the accounting. Second is verification. Upgrade to phishing-resistant MFA to truly verify identities, not just assume them. Third is vigilance. Empower your team to be your strongest defense, because they are. And finally, compliance. Meet those insurers and regulatory demands head on with verifiable proof. These aren't just good ideas, they're non-negotiables for improving your security in 2026. So what questions do you have about putting this playbook into action? Let me pause there and we'll see if there's any questions that have come in. I'm gonna kind of switch screens and move around a little bit. Let's see if there's any questions. So it doesn't look like there's any questions as of right now. And that's okay. A lot of times in these meetings, it's hard to ask questions and really get the answers you want. So I know we covered a lot, but if you do have a question or you're not comfortable kind of asking it here, by all means, reach out to us at info@sirinc.com. We are happy to kind of respond to questions from both this webinar today, any of our past webinars, or if you just have questions about tech, we're happy to kind of jump into that as well. Those that were registered for this and came to the meeting, we do have 2 handouts that are available to you, and we can get those to you if you just email info@sirinc.com. Happy to get those to you, and you can start doing these today to kind of figure out how is it that you need to secure your business and make sure that you're proving that you're secure, not just saying you're secure. So we make your tech work, keep your people protected and your profits secured. We have a cyber first mindset, and we push that to all of our clients. We're a team of solutionists, as I said, and we really are about relationships and managing those and making sure that they're deep and collaborative. We're not a vendor. We're somebody that really is in your back pocket to kind of help you be the best IT company or the best IT run company that you can be. So where do you go from here? So try and piece this together yourself. The handouts are helpful and can work and really do make a difference in kind of getting you on a path. But we know this is complex. So partner with somebody. Find a team like us, an MSP, or someone that you trust to help you build out what that technology services you need for your business is. And we aren't saying that you should necessarily work with us, but we are saying you should probably work with someone. This DIY kind of business technology, it's very hard to do well. I learn new things every day. It's always a struggle to stay on top of what's happening. And so you kind of need a team that's in your back pocket that's just for your technology and your needs. So get started on this today, right? Our calendars do fill up fast right after these meetings. By all means, put something in our calendar. You can book a strategy session that's one-on-one. You're talking with me or someone from our team to really talk through what it is that you're looking for out of your technology and how you can leverage that to be, to make a difference for you and your business. I want to thank you for joining today. The link for booking a strategy session is there on the screen. We will send out this recording to anybody that chooses to send us an email at info@sirinc.com, and we will also share those handouts with you. So again, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope this was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you next month.